Journal entry 289. So, someone read my journal last night. We were supposed to be flying out of here, but Avery seems to think that I'm making a mental contact with Amanda's ghost, which means that she didn't pass properly. Avery ran off to borrow some books from the local churches while I sat around at the graveyard trying to make contact. I definitely felt something out here. So Avery returns with her books and we pore over them trying to figure out what can be done. We found a ritual that would let her manifest. Avery's jittery about the whole thing, dealing with the undead like this, but it's something she has to do. Mike says it looks similar enough to one of his infernal rituals that he can help, so he does. So we perform the ritual. At first, there was something like a white smoke drifting around, and then it became more defined. It took on her form. It was Amanda, white and translucent. She's been here the whole time. Luckily, she hasn't gone insane. She couldn't talk, but I can feel from her. So we told her of our adventures. Alex going to Alien, Avery joining us in the Orc campaign, our rescue of Austin, Max, and Ian, Marcus and his wife and son, and our campaign against the barbarians. She was glad that we were all safe and making lives for ourselves. Then, it felt like a burden was lifted from her and she faded away. She waved goodbye. Avery seems to think that she was worried about us and that's what was keeping her bound here. I hope she's getting the rest she deserves now in whatever afterlife she ended up in. Journal entry 290. We gathered supplies and subtly moved all our stuff to the castle and then hidden into the airfield. It took a good 2 hours to scrap off the damn Winterfield Royal Seal. We loaded them up and then stalled when we realized none of us were qualified to fly this thing. We've seen airships piloted, but actually piloting them was a different matter. The controls look simple. A ship's wheel, an insert orb next to it that we think controls altitude by rolling it, and a lever that we think controls speed. We sat down on deck and had a discussion who was the most qualified of us to pilot it. After an hour of getting nowhere with that, Mike had an idea. Whatever happened to that captain we arrived with on our first trip here? Is she even in town anymore, and can she pilot an airship? So, Jason and I returned to the city and scoured for her. Sure enough, we found her working as a tavern wench, saving enough to start up her own land-bound trade route with Brightly. She did in fact know how to pilot airships and was more than willing to be hired into our crew as long as we paid her more than what she was making at the inn. So, we got a new member on the team, airship pilot Marika Hajanen. We got all loaded up again, detached from the air dock and lifted off. It was amazing. Then we realized we had no idea where we were. I figured we were in the woods between Winterfield and Brightly, but Alex pointed out that the trees were all wrong. We could be north or west of the kingdom's borders. We flew in wide circles for hours until we spotted the coast. So we had to have been west of Winterfield. We started heading east, and by nightfall, we were passing over the city. So we wasted a day. We came in and landed at the airship port and hoped no one would recognize the ship. We registered at the docks for the night. There was no fee, and come morning, we will begin our trip to Alien. Maybe we'll take some passengers and make some extra money.